WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Welcome to the first of a three-part series of Daviess County. So no, it's not today about the French oak. No, it's not about the Cabernet Sauvignon. It's all about the Daviess County straight bourbon whiskey here. Heritage from 1874. Sour mash, straight bourbon whiskey, 96 proof. Yay. Let's pour a little bit in the glass and let's talk a little bit about this brand here. All right, so first of all, it says on the back, and I'm just really reading from the bottle here. It says here, from, wow, Jason and his eyes here. It just says, DaviessCountyBourbon.com. Very, very good. So this unique bourbon honors the rich history and tradition started in 1874 by the Daviess County Distilling Company, one of Kentucky's original distillers or distilleries that helped contribute to the state's reputation as the home of great bourbons. Sorry about that, very, very stumbling through there. Now, okay, if you're going to read a label, read it right. So it says down here at the bottom, distilled and aged in Kentucky. It does not say distilled in Daviess County. It does not say aged in Daviess County. There are 3 distilleries, active distilleries at the moment there, and none of them made this whiskey. This is made by, this is not even made, this is actually made for, that's the best way to say it, for Luxco. Luxco Distilling. Now, they used to be called David Sherman Corporation. They changed their name, and now their name is Luxco. They have a distillery called Luxco, which is always here, Luxco Distillery. And that's what it says as well here. It says bottled for Luxco Distillers in Bardstown, Kentucky. Now, this is source juice. Who did they source from? Now, Luxco have a long history of sourcing from Heaven Hill. So I'm just going to assume that it's Heaven Hill. Now, there are 2 little things here that I want to point out, of course, from the label again. It says matured in American white oak barrels. Now, over here in Germany, I happen to be one of the more informed people about bourbons in the country. I'm not the expert, but I answered a lot of questions from a lot of people about what is bourbon, what isn't bourbon, what does bourbon mean. I import bourbon, I sell bourbon, I taste bourbon, I review bourbon, I have a few bourbon groups that I'm the admin for and so on. People expect from me to know what bourbon is and what it isn't. And in one of these chat groups, they started talking about the legal requirements of bourbon. It's like, all right, guys, girls, this is going to be easy, right? No. So the first question was, Jason, does it have to be American white oak? I said, no. And it was like, well, everything says American white oak. I said, it doesn't have to be. It has to be in oak, charred oak containers. Now, 99.99998% of all probably bourbon is matured in American white oak, but it could theoretically be Canadian white oak, right? Shouldn't be, but it could be. All right, so nowhere in the rules and the regulations does it say it needs to be American oak. It just says what? Oh, it just says oak. Oak, charred oak containers. It doesn't even have to be a barrel, I said. It could be a container. It could be a 4-cornered little rectangle box. And why would we do that? Too expensive. Not really a good way of doing it. We've had barrels for 200 some years. Keep on doing that. And why don't we use other types of oaks? Well, we do. Chinkapin, for example, we're using now. And we don't use red oak because it's like a sieve. The liquid actually pours out through the pores because the pores are not clogged up like with white oak. And so we can't use maple. We can finish maybe in maple. Jack Daniel's Gold number 27. It's no longer bourbon, but it is that. Oh, I just started a whole new conversation. Is Jack Daniel's a bourbon? Didn't want to go there, so sorry, time out. Forget that last part. So So this is in matured in white oak, American white oak, yay. It doesn't even say charred on it, unfortunately. And the last thing it says here, and this is the interesting part about it here, is a unique combination of two bourbon mash bills, a smooth wheated, and a traditional rye for a balanced sweetness and spice. So what they did is they basically took this, Elijah Craig from Heaven Hill, and they took Larceny, don't have a bottle here, and they just took the two mash bills, bam, put them together. In what ratio? We don't know. Is it 80% of the rye mash bill and 20% of the wheated, or is it 50-50? I haven't heard a person talking about that yet. I haven't heard a person asking about that yet. Now that means this is a 4-grain whiskey. Ooh, we have our 51% corn at least, yay. We have about 5 to 8% of our malted barley, yay. We have rye, and we have our wheat in here. So 4, yay, makes it special. Who knows? All right, good. Now, the prices over in Europe are at the moment for bourbon a little bit crazy. I know they're crazy in the States as well. All right, now I can get this for 35 euros still, about 40 some bucks. Now, unfortunately, there was a supply chain management problem here. Luxco had 3 different importers in Germany. One was in Munich, Mike's Whiskey Shop. One was up in the north, and one was a wine distributor, which I have no idea why they went with a wine distributor, but hey, why not? All right, and so if you don't know Luxco, maybe you know Rebel, aka Rebel Yell. Maybe you know Ezra Brooks. Maybe you know Blood Oath. Maybe you know here Limestone. So Limestone, Lime Branch is what they do, and they have Yellowstone. Sorry, it's Yellowstone from the Lime Branch Distillery. They also distribute that. So they're doing a lot of different products. There's some stuff out there that might actually be worth looking at, and they also now have the Daviess County. Very very interesting. Daviess County actually was a distillery up until 1992, which I did not know. And then it actually was closed by what today is called Diageo. And 1993, then here, back then it was called, as I talked about, then the David Sherman Company bought the rights for the Daviess County. And they just sat on them from 1993 all the way up to 2021. So they didn't do anything with the rights. I don't know how many other rights they have laying around, the brands and so on. And so since 1993, that has now been part of that Luxco company. All right. So, yeah. All right. So over here, originally the price for this was, believe it or not, 80 some euros. Now we're down to 55. That had to do with the different importers and how many people were middlemen and held out the hands and so on and so on. And also the big differences, as I also found out this year, the price to send over a pallet, the transport price from USA to Europe pallet. If you have 3 pallets, you can actually, it's cheaper to use a container. And so if you can send this over, you have enough deep pockets to buy containers full of this stuff, you're going to get a much, much better price from the company itself, as well as your transport price. You'll be able to push down the price a lot. And transport costs are one of the biggest things here. So this was brought over to Germany in the time during the tariffs. They have fallen. So starting January 1st, 2022, no more 25% tariffs. So that would also be a little bit cheaper. Interesting enough that this did not go up in price at all because of the tariffs. It did change in price between the old 12-year-old bottle that was a little bit rounder and the more sexy modern bottle. But since then, they have basically, the company themselves have been eating more or less tariffs there, and it has not gone up, which I expect it probably will go up in 2022 now. Get rid of the tariffs, goes up, the company makes even more money. Who knows? All right. So let's take a look at the 2 of these. That was a slight introduction. So you have an interesting mash bill here with the combination of our basically Elijah Craig and our Larceny mash bills. And you have a 4-year-old product. Over here we have a straight, no longer 12. So we'll see what that is. I think this is older than this. All right. On the nose. This has a very nice nose, a very sweet nose. Oh, sweetness and spice. Wow, they didn't lie. Good job. I do like this nose. I get some light berry moments, a bit of cherry in there. I get some leather. I get some pecan. Get some vanilla. Very, very nice. Good job here. I like that. I don't know if it's worth the 55 euros I'm paying for now, but hey. This is a little bit darker. This has more of a wood moment influence, which I like. But to be honest, if I were to pick between the two just on the nose, I would go here. I like a tick a little bit more. All right, let's try these 48%, 47%. So this has actually a little bit more power than this, all right? I'm in Europe. I think in percentages, you think in proof, so it's 96 proof. And we have here the 94 proof, all right? So 47 proof, 47% ABV. Cheers. Now the palate really doesn't stand up to what the nose delivered. It's young. It's a little bit more alcohol. It's a little bit brighter. You get a little bit more of a Kentucky hug going on here, almost all the way down to going into some type of yeah, not nice moments down here. It's a little flat actually. There is the sweetness there. Hmm. Yeah, let's move over to the Elijah Craig. The nose is good, a little bit better. Palate, palate. Mm. Mm-hmm. Much better. Oh yeah. Mm. None of that alcohol burn. None of that acidy reflex here. Oh, beautiful mouthfeel. Creamy, fruity, woody, vanilla, nut pecan. A little bit of glazed, like a glazed donut moment almost here. Nice. Yay. This is a C plus whiskey for me. This is a C whiskey. On the nose, it actually might actually be more of a B minus, C plus plus. But on the palate, it just does not deliver. Okay, I'm going to do the bad thing. I'm going to add 3 drops of water and see if it helps or hinders. The nose immediately breaks down a little bit for me. Hmm. Hmm. A little bit of acetone, that alcohol burn bite. Much better. Now, what's really, really interesting is I get to, the next 2 videos, I get to compare it. I get to compare it to the French oak. I get to compare it to the Cabernet Sauvignon. I get to compare it and see what's happening. Thank you very much, Angel's Envy, for breaking through that stigma back then of finishing bourbon. Scotland, Glenmorangie as well as Glenmorangie began about 35 years ago. They started experimenting with different finishings and red wines and so on. Thank you very, very much. I mean, sherry has been done forever, but that's not a finish. Glenfarclas has been maturing, and Macallan have been maturing their single malt Scotch for over 100 years, I guess, in sherry. So that wasn't that. But all these new French oak finishings and these wine finishings and all that happened first of all in Scotland and then finally made its way over to America, I'm going to say about 30 years later. And so most of the things now in the States that are coming out from all these craft distillers are often finished, which is sometimes good. But we have the same thing with single malt Scotch sometimes. It's just like, give me a real standard traditional ex-bourbon matured whiskey that is great, a single malt Scotch. And the same thing sometimes with bourbon is I don't always need a finish, but sometimes a finish, especially with younger, some type freaky type of products like this, can elevate it and make it nice. All right, so what is your favorite product here between under, let's go below bottled and bond. Let's go 49% to about 46%. Let's go 45%. What is your favorite product out there for bourbon? Yeah, between 45 and 49%, somewhere under $50. This is a $40 product in the States. I would say Eagle Rare 10. I can still get it for under $40 over here, which is amazing. So that would be my product of choice for that. What would be yours? Thank you very much for watching. Look out for the next two videos. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for liking and also maybe even sharing this video on some type of social media platform and telling others about this crazy guy over here in Europe tasting whiskeys. All the best. See you soon. Whiskey Jason. Bye-bye.